A's Miss A got a lot to say on all the things we go through within the day. Politics, dating, recipes, traveling.
And yep, of course, I'm the karaoke queen.
I take no L's. I'm always booking flights. This is my lovely lunatic Leo life.
Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? This is my lovely lunatic Leo life. Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? The one and only S.A.
Thank you very much. This is the one and only Miss A, and welcome to my lovely lunatic Leo life. Thank you all for tuning in or listening. For the people who've been listening, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much. And for the newbies, welcome. Today is actually going to be a very serious subject, and it's something that's been weighing on me to even talk about because I'm not sure if I was ready to talk about it. I did appear on a podcast, Butterfly Rhythm, and I spoke about this subject, but this is a very sore subject for me. So please bear with me. It's not easy for me to talk about, but I do realize that some people need to hear other stories in order for them to heal or for them to be able to talk about it as well. Today's topic is going to be abortion. Yes, guys, abortion. And today marks my 5-year anniversary of my first and my last abortion, and it's something that took me a long time to work out. I'm still working things out. Times I think I'm over it, I'm not, but it's something that I feel like talking about it might be therapeutic for me, and hopefully it'll be therapeutic for you as well. So 5 years ago to this day, I got an abortion. It was my first abortion ever, and I vowed that I would never, ever do it again. Now, to ladies who've had multiple abortions, this is no shade or anything like that towards you. The only thing I will say is I wouldn't take it as a form of birth control, like as in continuously doing that. That's a different subject, but I'm not here for that because that has nothing to do with me. I did it one time, and I vowed I would never do it again. And so at the age of my abortion, I was 34 years old, okay? Again, it was 5 years ago. I'm 38 now. Sorry, I'm 38 now. And it was with somebody who I was friends with, somebody who I was messing around with for years. But it was more of a lust thing, the feelings were not mutual. It was me chasing after him, and he definitely had other women that he was talking to, and, we weren't exclusive, but we knew each other for a long time. I was playing a fool, point blank, period. This guy was the one that I would always complain to my friends about, like, you did this to me again. They're like, after some time, they're like, okay, Adrian, we're tired of hearing it. So it wasn't the right situation. And honestly, at first, when I found out I was pregnant, I was excited because I was 34 years old and I thought I was ready to have a child. I've always wanted a child. Since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a mother. So it's something that I've always wanted and said that I'll become a mother one day. But with him, it wasn't the right situation. I didn't want to stay connected to him, especially, I wanted my child to be born from love, you know what I'm saying? And I know he would have been a good father because he's a father already. He's an excellent father. So it wasn't that I thought he was just going to abandon the child, but it wasn't the situation that I wanted to be in. And honestly, at the time I had the abortion, I was 3 months pregnant. So, my hormones were in full effect my hormones were in full effect in like 2 months. It's crazy. I would never have believed it. Not that I'm calling people liars, but I just didn't realize a woman's body is amazing. I'll just say that. But my nipples were sore and tender in like a month. I feel like once I found out I was pregnant, which I found out a few weeks before because I kind of figured I was, it was like everything started to change. My emotions were all over the place. I'll be happy one second, crying the next second, So I think my hormones had a lot to do with it. I just was on instinct, but at the same time, you don't have a lot of time to decide whether you're going to have an abortion or not. Even 3 months to me, I feel like it might have been a little bit too long, but I did it anyway. And once I decided to get my abortion, I spoke to the dude about it. I let him know. He was fine with it, you know, and several people tried to convince me not to. Even my ex-boyfriend. My ex-boyfriend is such a great guy. The day I went, he came to my house in the morning before work. After work, because he worked overnight, and he was like, you know, trying to convince me not to do it. My best friend took me to go get the abortion, but all morning he was trying to convince me not to go. And I was like, no, this is for the best. Leave me alone. You know, don't tell me what to do. Pro-choice, blah, blah, blah. And so I went to go get the abortion. First of all, we were there all fucking day. Like, it was a mess. The whole day was just annoying. We were literally there all day. I probably didn't leave until, I don't even know what time I left, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I got there around 10, 11 in the morning. So as soon as I got the abortion, I was happy. I'm like, you know, I did the right thing. Me and my friend went out to eat afterward, had some drinks. You know, I'm like, I did the right thing. This was good. I had to get rid of it, blah, blah, blah. For 2 weeks, I was happy. I made the right choice. Then all of a sudden, it just went downhill from there. I regretted it immediately. I thought it was the worst thing I could do. Like, how can you do this? And from 2 weeks after the abortion until, I would say even till now, it still affects me, you know? And I know people have their issues about pro-choice or pro-life. And so people who are pro-life, they're going to talk regardless. It's all about the decision that you make. And if you're with somebody you have the baby with, hopefully it'll be between both of you, not just one-sided. But it can be because it's your body, you know? But I was downhill after that. I couldn't listen to commercials with baby crying. I couldn't see babies in commercials, first of all. I would start crying. I couldn't listen to them cry, laugh. I just was a hot mess. I kept to myself. I just felt miserable and I felt bad. And I was like, I'm going to be punished for this, you know? What if when I want a child, then, you know, when I say I wanted this kid, I did a whole, what do you call those boards where you put pictures on it to say that this is, you know, you're like predicting the future. Not predicting, but you know what I'm talking about. I made one of those boards. I had a name. I automatically assumed I was going to have a girl because I always wanted a girl. I had a name, everything. So I just felt like, you know, how can I do this to that poor fetus? It wasn't their fault. It was my fault, you know? And so I was in such a bad mindset for at least for 2 years, strong, sad mindset. However, one thing that did change in my life is I started to travel. This happened in April, and then in September, I went to Cayman Islands with someone who we weren't really friends at the time, but we knew each other because we did radio together at a station. She had her show, I had my show. So me and her clicked from then on, you know, became friends since then. But I went on vacation with her, and it was so therapeutic, and it kind of calmed me down. It relaxed me. At least I didn't think about it at least for 2 days, you know, the most. And so that is when I started to travel. I don't know if it's like, you might want to call it running away from my mind or appreciating my freedom more. You know what I'm saying? Like now, if I was to have a child, I'll be ready. And I have a man now, so if it's with him, I'm definitely keeping it. You know what I'm saying? So I've been traveling since then. I've been to like 4 or 5 different places internationally since 2016, and it has changed my life and helped me to appreciate life more, you know, not take things for granted. It just changed me for the better, and it's mainly to appreciate my life and feel the freedom that I have right now. When coronavirus hit and we were on lockdown, I would have had a 3.5-year-old. I don't know what I would have did with a 3.5-year-old here, driving me insane for all those times. You know what I'm saying? No offense to parents who have to deal with it, but it's things like that make me appreciate my freedom. I'm able to travel. I'm able to do whatever I want to. I'm selfish. I don't want to share my food with kids. I swear I'm not going to share my food with kids. But, you know, people that I know that are parents, they think I'm full of it. Until I get there, then we'll know for sure. But it was just something that I had to deal with, and I'm still dealing with. Sometimes, you know, being that I was a lot of my closest friends, my best friends, they were there for me, but at the same time, I didn't want to always complain about being sad or cry to them because I felt like, bitch, this is your decision. You did that. Okay, they were happy with whatever decision I made. They were there for me, no doubt, but I didn't want to burden them with my burden, and it was my choice. You know, so I didn't really talk to my friends. It was one of my best friends is the only one who I spoke to about it. And really, she's the only one who I spoke to about it the most with. But it was just, I didn't want to I don't like talking about my problems. So therefore, I didn't really. And that's why it took me so long to get through this, and I'm still going, like I said, I'm still going through it. But I didn't want to complain to people when I'm thinking they're going to judge me because you made this decision. It's no one else's fault but yours. So after that, I just said, fuck it. Just do what I got to do, live my life. And when the time comes for it, I'm going to be ready. But now here's the downside to this. I'm terrified that I'm going to be punished. The higher power or the God or karma. I feel like, what if when I'm ready to have a child, I'm going to be cursed? These are the things that go through my mind. And that's still not me getting through it. You know what I mean? And not to say that people who have abortions should be punished but this is just my mindset. Am I going to be punished for having this abortion when I wanted a child already? Things that go through my mind. We don't really talk about things that go through our minds. Like, things that go through my mind are very crazy sometimes. Like, out of this world crazy, or a movie like crazy, like, and it just runs through. Like, I'm gonna just be sitting down here chilling. All of a sudden, something psychotic or crazy runs through my mind. I'm like, oh shit, why did I just think that? And I try to think happy thoughts. But shit like that, like, what if the ghost of the aborted baby comes and kills my baby when it's in his crib? Shit like that. Like, what if he's jealous or she's like, things like that is what I really go through. And sometimes when we go through some kind of trauma, we try to hurry up and get over it, but sometimes we really just have to sit there and deal with it and appreciate the pain we're going through. Shout out to my best friend who told me that. She said, you don't have to hurry up and try to forget the emotion. Appreciate the emotion you're going through. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to go through it. It's okay. And I didn't do that. And so now I'm going through well, not now, but then I was going through the motions. And it's so crazy how all of a sudden my mindset changed from being so happy from the abortion to just going straight downhill. Like, what if the baby every year the baby would be this old. Every year the baby this old. On the anniversary, like today, like, 5 years ago I murdered my baby. Like, shit, this is how I beat myself up. And I'm terrified that I'm going to get karma when it's time for me to have my baby. And I'm 38 now, going on 39. I'll be 39 in a few months. So not only is my age too, and I'm not doing anything right now to take care of my health, but I'm about to. But it's just things like this is what I'm thinking about. And I don't want to feel this pain. And I want people to know who have gone through this, however many times you've had your abortion, that it's okay to go through the pain. Don't try to dismiss it. Appreciate the pain, because in the end of the day, it's going to help you in the long run. You would have went through all the things that you're feeling and then been able to go back and live your life without having to think about this as much or as in depth as you did before. Can I get an amen? Thank you. Thank you. I try to school people sometimes, but I just want people to know they're not alone. And, if you have any questions, always email. You can email me at mylovelylunaticleolife@yahoo.com. You can always DM me on Instagram, which is also my lovely lunatic life. It's something that's not easy to talk about. So that's one aspect. Then you have other aspects of people who post on social media about pro-life and it's so fucked up. Like, there's this girl who I really respect on social media. We have never met, but we're like, in my head, she's like one of my good friends. I don't know if she feels the same, but I know I'm a friend of her also, even though we haven't met. But she would post some shit. And one time I was in my feelings. I was feeling down. And I snapped at her. I've never snapped at her before. We've debated, but it was a healthy debate because her opinions are way different from our views are different in certain aspects. But, I snapped on her and she handled it gracefully. She didn't curse me out like I would have cursed someone else who snapped at me. Like, she handled it gracefully, and eventually I came to my senses and I did apologize to her. And she was like, you never came at me like that, so no worries. But you will have people who will talk about, people who've had abortions and say whatever they have to say. But sometimes you just never know anyone's place or position and the reason why they had an abortion. So I just ask you guys to be kind and thoughtful, because you don't know how it is affecting the person. Yeah, we made that choice. Like I said, I didn't like to complain to my friends of how sad, or talk to them about how sad I'm feeling, because it was my choice. You know what I mean? They had kids too. One of my best friends had a son, and my other one didn't, but she was married, or she was getting married. You know what I mean? Like, these are people, so they might have had their own views. Like, they might not have agreed with me, what I was doing, but they were there for me. They didn't, not once did they say, you shouldn't do it. They just said, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? You know, and I appreciate them. I've said it to them. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but I really love them and appreciate them for that, for being there for me, even though I couldn't feel comfortable enough to come to them to complain about how I felt, because it was my decision. So you're going to deal with assholes. You're going to deal with people who have their pro-choice. If they're pro-life, leave them be. Don't argue with them. There was a guy who I knew. He posted on Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day, except for the ones who murdered their babies or some shit, like talking about abortions. I didn't go at him and say nothing. Like, a lot of women said what they had to say in his comments. I didn't say shit to him. That shit hurt deeply, but, you know, he was being an asshole. And I wasn't in that position to even, I was still hurting. So I didn't want to argue back and forth for no reason, putting my business out there. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. A few years later, I told him how I felt, and that was fucked up. He was like, yeah, he knows that wasn't right. He was just immature and stupid, blah, blah. You know, so sometimes you're not ready to argue with that person because you're still hurting. So you don't have to keep going. Just let it go. You know, everyone has their opinions. Everyone has their choices. People are going to do what they want to do. At the end of the day, it's your life. You got to live your life. You can change it around for the better. I said that maybe I can make it up by volunteering in hospitals. You know, not now because COVID, but even when I was young, I used to want to volunteer and hold babies. You know, there's some hospitals that allow you to hold babies because either their mom is not around, or they're not able to, or it's a drug baby or crack baby. I hate that term, but you know, so they hold the baby because the baby needs that nurturing and that closeness of a body as a newborn. But I wouldn't be able to do that because I was still hurting, and I'm still hurting. Today wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I noticed within the last 2 weeks, I was in a funk, and I couldn't figure it out until the anniversary's coming up. So I was like, why am I feeling this way? I'm happy. I got my man. He makes me so happy, you know. Well, aside from the part that fucking unemployment in New Jersey won't pick up their motherfucking phone, but, you know, I'm stressing about a job. But that was, I think, the real issue that I had at hand. Sometimes you're not even realizing what is causing you pain because you're so good at hiding it and guarding it, which is me. Since a kid, I didn't like to cry in front of others. I guard and hide my shit. But then you don't know what it is that's causing you to be in a funk and be depressed. I've been depressed for a few months. I didn't realize it. I'm drinking and smoking heavily by myself, not giving a fuck. But you would never know because I always want other people to laugh. I want people to be good. You know, I'd rather your happiness than my own happiness sometimes. You know, that's sad to say, but it's true. But this is what I went through, and this is what I was dealing with. But at the end of the day, I'm moving on. I can't dwell on it anymore. Just going to keep praying and hope that God will forgive me at the end of the day for what happened and what I did. And I would never do it again. I know that much. So I'm just here to tell you guys that it's okay. It's okay to feel how you want to feel. But don't dwell in it for too long. You can dwell in it for a little, but don't dwell in it too long. And just live your life to the fullest. Do something. Take up a hobby to help you get your mind off of it. Like I said, mine was traveling. I did a solo trip to Thailand. I went to Cayman Islands 4 times. I went to Ghana. I went to Jamaica. You know, I've been to Mexico. All these places I've been since then. And Cayman Islands actually 4 times on top of the places I've been to. So traveling is my therapy. Find your therapy because at the end of the day, you're not a bad person. I don't insist using abortion as a birth control method. That I feel like it's fucked up. Again, I'm not judging, but don't do that because you can fuck up your stuff when you're ready to have a kid. And just, if you're going to keep going through that mentality or having that same pain, if you did, it's not worth it. Excuse me, Lola. But that's all I wanted to say today. I hope you guys listening. Thank you for listening, because again, this was not an easy subject to talk about, but I do feel actually a little bit better. This is my day to just I'm here. And today was it's literally the 5-year anniversary. And I didn't realize that until like 2 days ago. So this is a perfect time to talk about this. So thank you for listening. It's the one and only Miss A. I appreciate you. Another show over and done. 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 Don't be sad. I'll be back another night. Another show over and done. Don't be too sad. I'll be back another night.